Getting past your fear of anger. Okay, this is the title of the book, Healing Your Emotional Self, a powerful program to help you raise your self-esteem, quiet your inner critic, and overcome your shame, by Beverly Angel. Yeah, I've been reading this book and yeah for a while now, and yeah, come read it with me. Know what I'm saying? Getting past your fear of anger. You may be reluctant to express your righteous anger toward your parents because you are afraid of your anger. The most threatening and frightening of all our emotions, the most threatening and frightening of all our emotions. But it is important to realize that your fear of anger has kept you imprisoned in the past, afraid to stand up to those who have hurt you, and afraid to go forward. If you can conquer your fear of anger, you can rise above the status of victim to the survivor. The following suggestions can help. Identify any myths you have about your anger and your right to express it. Are you getting this? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Identify the beliefs in your family that prevented the expression of anger. Whose style of anger have you adopted? How did this person come to be a role model for you? How effective a role model is this person? Okay, let me read that again. The following suggestions can help to conquer your anger, of course. Identify any myth you have about your right to express it. Identify the beliefs in your family that prevented the expression of anger. Whose style of anger have you adopted? How did this person come to be a role model for you? How effective a role model is this person? Okay. Anger itself is not a negative emotion. It is what we do with our anger that determines whether it is negative or positive. If we go about spewing our anger on innocent people, it becomes negative. If we hold anger in and turn it against ourselves, it also becomes negative. But if we find constructive ways of releasing it and safe places to let out our anger, it becomes a positive force in our lives, creating energy, motivation, assertiveness, empowerment, and creativity. Okay. Anger is energy. Anger is energy, a motivating force that can empower you to feel less hopeless. By releasing it, you will find that you rid yourself of the physical and emotional tension that has sapped your energy that you could otherwise use to motivate yourself to change. Anger can motivate you to set and keep boundaries with your parents today, as well as with other people in your life. The more you express your anger, the less afraid of it you will be. Anger can be your way out. Take it. Okay, that is the end of this page. Um, well, this is an exercise. Exercise constructive and safe ways to identify and express your anger. Write down all the negative ways the emotional abuse or neglect affected you. This may take some thought and some time. Allow yourself to feel your righteous anger and having to suffer in these ways. Write about any connections you can make between your low self esteem, your tendency to be self critical, and your unexpressed anger. Okay. Write about any connections you can make about your experiences of depression and your unresolved anger. Write about any connections you can make between your experiences of anxiety and your unresolved anger. Talk about your angry feelings to someone you trust, someone who will listen, who will just listen and understand without trying to rescue you or talk you out of your anger. Are you guys listening? Write a letter to your parent, to the parent or caregiver who abused or neglected you, expressing your hurt and anger. Don't censor yourself. Let yourself say all the negative, hateful things that are going through your head. This letter is only meant as catharsis. Do not give it to the person. You can choose to keep the letter, tear it up, or burn it. Role play your anger. Have an imaginary conversation with the person you are angry with. Tell the person exactly what you feel. Don't hold back anything. It may help you to look at a picture of the person or to imagine that the person is sitting in a chair across from you. If you are still afraid of this person, imagine he or she is tied up and gagged and cannot hurt you or say anything to you. Find a creative outlet for your anger. For example, paint the rage you feel when you think about the treatment you received. Make a clear representation of your abusive or neglectful parent, then destroy it. If you need something more physical, express your anger through dance, scream into a pillow, or scream in the shower. If you can do so without anyone hearing you, if you can do so without anyone hearing you, find a physical activity that helps you release your anger energy in a safe way. Good examples are running, playing basketball, going to a penicillin cage, and hitting some balls. If you tend to suffer from explosive anger, avoid aggressive or competitive sports such as boxing, wrestling, or hockey, as they may actually reinforce aggressive behavior instead of releasing anger. Instead, find physical activities that make you feel calm and relaxed, such as such as walking, swimming, or running. Hey, please like, also share the live. Thank you for joining. Identify and counter negative core beliefs. If a child is constantly told you are not good, he ends up he ends up believing it. If he is told he will never amount to anything, he will most likely grow up to prove his parents right. Children who were emotionally abused or deprived almost always internalize the negative parental messages they received. In order to eliminate these negative internal messages, we need to identify their presence. Parents communicate negative messages to their children in various ways. Some are overly critical of their child or his behavior. Comments such as "you're stupid," "you are lost cause," and "you are an embarrassment to me" are common examples of messages passed on by emotional abusive parents. Hey, thank you guys for joining. Other kinds of negative and debilitating beliefs are communicated in less obvious ways. For example, in response to the rejection or abandonment you experienced as a child, you may have to you may have come to see yourself as unworthy or flawed. If your parents did not mirror back your value, you will find it difficult to see value in yourself. In my case, my mother passed on to me the negative core belief that I did not deserve good things. Whenever good things happened to me when I was a little girl, my mother would either warn me that something bad was going to happen or she would do something to make me feel bad. The most powerful experience of this message occurred when I was 15 and a junior in high school. My first 2 years in high school hadn't been very good for me. I had transferred from another school district and didn't know many people. Because we were very poor and my mother hadn't taught me how to take care of myself, I didn't look as attractive as I could have. But by my junior year, I had learned a little from classes in home economics and from watching how the other girls dressed, and I began to dress more appropriately. Um, I had also made some new friends. Enough, in fact, that a friend of mine and I were able to create our own lunch table in the cafeteria, a safe harbor in the midst of chaos. I was doing well in school and had gained the respect of some of the more popular kids in my classes. When two seniors asked me to join their YWCA club, I was honored. Things were definitely looking up. On one particular day, I was feeling especially great. My English teacher had complimented me in front of the entire class on a term paper I had written. She said I was a very good writer and that I should seriously consider it as a career. I remember feeling so proud. I respected this teacher very much, and to have her praise me in front of everyone gave me the kind of validation I seldom received in my life. After school that day, I was elected president of my YWCA club. Again, this was incredible validation for me. I sailed all the way home, buoyed up by these validations. I relieved and warm felt the warm glow of acceptance and admiration from the club members. It was my mother's day off, and so I married into the apartment, eager to tell her about both of my successes. Both of my successes. I don't remember what she said about them. Certainly, she did not praise me or tell me anything positive. Wow, that is crazy. That is bad. Parents must do better. Guys, parents must do better. I telephoned my best friend and told her what had happened in class and continued to feel good about myself for the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. I don't know how I was acting, but clearly my mother didn't like it. All I all I do remember is that my mother, who was sitting on the couch drinking beer, said to me, "You really think you something, don't you?" Wow. Wow. That is something What? That is crazy. I stopped short, not knowing what she was talking about. You really think you're something because your teacher praised you and because you're president of your stupid club. Wow. Wow. This is this is so sad. Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you who you really are, she said in a mocking tone. You are illegitimate. You were an unwanted child who ruined my life. Wow, that is crazy. I stood there shocked, not quite comprehending what she was telling me, but feeling wounded by her words. The word illegitimate rang in my ears in those days. The mid 60s, being an illegitimate child was still very shameful. I remember feeling that I was going to pass out as hurtful emotions passed over me like a dark cloud. I sank to the couch as my mother proceeded to tell me for the first time the truth about my father and my bed and my bed. My mother was not married to my father when I was conceived. In fact, she was actually still legally married to another man, even though she had deserted him. She never told my father about me, but left town as soon as she discovered she was pregnant. Whoa. In the moments that followed, my entire concept of who I was changed. I had always felt different and less than others because I had no father, because my mother was so much older than other mothers, and because we were so poor. Now I had another reason to feel inadequate, was illegitimate, and even though I had always felt unwanted and guilty about my existence, now it was confirmed. I was unwanted and I had ruined my mother's life. Needless to say, all the good feelings I'd heard about being acknowledged that they absolutely disappeared. Although my mother had not physically slapped me in the face this time, I felt slapped down to size. Nevertheless, the juxtaposition of the event of this day had a profound effect on me. For many years, I could not experience joy or the feeling of success without fearing that something bad was going to happen to me, that I was going to slap down to size. I vividly remember the day when I was finally able to let go of the fear that something bad was going to happen to me every time I felt good. It was about 15 years ago. I was driving home from work, feeling good about the work I had done with, with clients. I realized that my life was going really well. That for the first time in a long time, I wasn't weighted down by some kind of problem. Suddenly, I was seized with an overwhelming fear. I just knew that something bad was going to happen to me. But then another feeling slowly began to seep into my consciousness. And I heard a voice inside my head saying, no, nothing bad is going to happen. Just because you are here right now, it doesn't mean that something bad will follow. I continued my ride home feeling free of the fear that would have normally gripped me and free to feel the contentment I was experiencing. That was not that was not the end of the story. For many years, I continued to battle with another version of this problem. Instead of consciously fearing that something bad would always follow something good, I had a tendency to do something to hurt myself whenever something wonderful happened to me. For example, several years ago, I began rewarding myself with a massage every other week. But after having my body taken care of and feeling so good, I noticed that I would eat too much at night. Wow. I often slept myself down in the same way my mother slept me down on that horrible day. Negative parental messages like the one I received from my mother cause us to develop certain core beliefs about life and about ourselves, including basic assumptions about our value in the world. Core beliefs about yourself can determine to what degree you perceive yourself as worthy, competent, loved, safe, powerful, and autonomous. The core belief I developed from experiences with my mother was that I didn't deserve good things. After all, echoing my mother's words, who did I think I was? This belief colored my perceptions of myself to such an extreme extent that whenever something good happened to me, I immediately sabotaged it in some way. Examples of negative core beliefs. Negative core beliefs, negative beliefs and negative thoughts patterns can continue to affect your your identity and self concept unless you consciously work on changing them. In chapter 2, I listed the common beliefs created by 7 types of emotional abusive parents. Following are some other common examples of thought patterns that people who were deprived and or abused have. The underlying beliefs that support these thoughts patterns are in italics. Make a note of any of the negative beliefs that you relate to. Number one, I can never trust anything good will last. It will either end or go away. People are not trustworthy, and neither is life. Both will disappoint. Both will disappoint you or let you down. Let me pause. Let me pause for a minute. Let me pause.